Hi, everyone. Kyle Hoffman here from the USTA Mid-Atlantic. Thank you for joining in on today's session. And with us today is Justin Cerny from the ITA. Justin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well.
Well, I appreciate taking the time with us. We're going to dive right in and get to know you a little bit and kind of know some of the stuff that you've been into in the tennis industry.
That sounds great. Happy to share.
Cool. First and foremost, I just want to introduce Justin. He's the manager for the ITA that covers Division II, Division III, NAI, and JUCO. Love to see that on a business card, but just talk to us a little bit about yourself. How you got started into tennis.
Thanks, Kyle. And we like to keep busy here at the ITA, so never a shortage of things to do. Yeah. So my whole kind of arc is it was just involved in being a player and growing up in the USTA system, being from the Mid Atlantic even, and so I grew up playing tournaments all the time and just fell in love with tennis from a pretty young age. Playing in high school, and then eventually going to Christopher Newport University and playing Division III tennis there. And it felt like 4 years went far too quick, and I still wanted to be a part of tennis and be involved. I wasn't sure that I had the makeup to necessarily be teaching and be on court all the time, but I knew if I could still give back and be involved, then that was a kind of good jumping off point in my career. And it panned out well. After I graduated, I was able to get a job with the ITA, and it's been about 3.5 years now, and I've kind of been able to take on more responsibility and see myself grow and see the company grow in a few years.
Awesome. And I'm going to touch on the Mid-Atlantic part first, but talk a little bit about your junior days in the Mid-Atlantic.
I could not I couldn't get enough of playing and being in the tournaments. I was that person that kid that always was checking the scores from other tournaments and checking my rankings, and very maybe a little too invested in that. But played all around in mostly in Virginia and Maryland, and I look back now and I think there were a ton of really strong players that went on to play professionally and play at some really high level Division I schools, and now post grad these players they're coaching at universities and involved in the industry. And so it's funny after the fact you realize what kind of who you had around you, and these comrades, these people with common interests that maybe at the time you really just wanted to beat them.
I appreciate you you refraining from name dropping there, but I'm sure during that time period there were several big names and several big players playing through that. But is there any specific memory that stands out to you from your junior days?
Oh, that's a good one. Having to try and pinpoint it. I there's a couple that stand out to me. I mean, going to Christopher Newport, I was actually very lucky that they had a number of tournaments there around the Newport News area, and I think that was great because it gave me some exposure in front of the coaches. And then they used to have the old center court indoor racket club down there, and was able to win one of the old L2. I think they've changed the ratings, but old L2 doubles tournaments indoors there. And funny enough, ended up playing a number of college matches and doing well at those fast indoor courts. So that stands out. And then I think every kid in the Mid Atlantic has their I got stomped by Francis Tiafo story. So that one's in the bag, and it makes you feel a little better about it now that he's doing so well.
As I say, I think several people can feel the pain a little bit from Francis's days running through the Mid Atlantic. Well, and I know you touched on it a minute ago too, just talking about being that guy that loves to follow other scores, other tournaments. I'm a little bit familiar with your position with the ITA, but what kind of led you into, after your playing days at Christopher Newport, into a career into tennis?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I was really trying to find what my career path was going to be. I was a communication major at Christopher Newport, and that really left things wide open as to what I was going to do professionally. I wasn't entirely sure. And off the bat, I had a job in Richmond, actually being a recruiter. I had kind of accepted the position, and then I went out to the NCAA tournament, qualified my senior year in California, and I went there, and there was people from the ITA working that event, and I started talking to one of the people there, and I knew they had a position open, and said, "Well, let's just apply." I already had a job, so I was just being selfish at that point. But I said, "Let's just see what this is all about." And one thing led to another, and initially my position was a membership coordinator and helping out with championships coordinator as well. But I just knew that I would, if I could, I'd love to be involved with tennis still, with college tennis. I had so much passion over my years of playing, and it worked out where they needed somebody, and I think maybe membership wasn't my ideal suit, and but I just wanted to be involved and kind of get my foot in the door with the company. And from then on, I moved out to Arizona, where the ITA is headquartered, and I think it's kind of a bit of a leap of faith story. But right after I graduated, moved out there, and now 3.5 years later, had a few changes in my work and what I do, but just kind of that story of you take a chance and kind of trust in what your passion is, and it can work out.
Well, that's really cool, and I'm sure they had to really twist your arm to get to that warm climate as well. Um, well, and one thing, maybe for some of the folks that aren't familiar with the ITA, maybe to explain what the ITA is, and maybe some common questions you get about your job.
That's a good question. I'll try to keep it not ramble on too long, but the ITA is the governing body of college tennis. So we are a coach member association, but we're also involved in governance for the sport, working alongside the NCAA for all of those kind of specific playing matters. Tennis is in some ways a very unique sport, and there's a lot of nuance to what can happen in a tennis match, especially if it's a fall tournament or a dual match. And so we put together the rules for that. And then uh, because we are a coach member association, there's a lot of benefits to joining the ITA. And we have committees that are comprised of a lot of our coaches, so they can get involved and have a say in the direction that the sport goes. And then the membership value is pretty lengthy, but we're doing rankings and awards for the whole college season. We're putting on championships throughout the year, regionally and nationally. And then in the recent years, we've gone out to try some new things with coach education, really emphasizing advocacy due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the last few years, really trying to strengthen college tennis and show the value that it has on a college campus. So kind of a whole mixture of things, and my space really is focused on Division II, Division III, NAI, and junior college. So putting on those championships, keeping up with results entry and rankings, and coach committees, coach governance to get things done.
And I will say, on a personal note, you were actually the one to break the news to me personally that I had my first team nationally ranked for that, which is as a personal achievement as a coach. That's always exciting, and you've been there through the transition, going to the electronic system, to the computer rankings. Some people were maybe more familiar with it from being from the coaches polls, in terms of doing the rankings in the past. But like you mentioned as well, even speaking with Dave Mullins, a lot of new initiatives, a lot of new podcasts and stuff where you guys are highlighting a lot of the coaches through the industry, and as well as doing a lot of mentorship. We've had a lot of new faces in the college coach space, being able to create some opportunities there as well to kind of help maybe people that are looking to get into this part of the industry to kind of have places to go and resources to help them get started. And of course, for some of those folks that might be looking to dip their toes into the college coaching space, what advice would you give them if they're looking to come in?
That's a good question, and something that I initially thought about when I was graduating is, do I want to be involved in coaching, or what is my way to give back and contribute in college tennis? And that's one of those things where, especially from someone who came from maybe a smaller school, Division III, you're not being pursued to be a big time Power 5 coach off the bat, and so it is a bit of that trust process, and knowing that I have a passion for this sport, and I can give something back. And so in a lot of ways, you are having to kind of break in and know that off from the beginning, it's not going to be the easiest start. So you might be volunteer coaching, or becoming an assistant coach at a smaller school from the beginning. So that's some of the kind of the mentality that you have to have, is that it's a process, especially in your early 20s. It can take some time.
Yeah, for sure. And I know even for a lot of folks, they weren't sure that was the space that they were going to end up in, but it's worked out for a lot of folks to find themselves in the tennis industry and positions that maybe they didn't never foresee themselves getting into. But funny how that stuff works out, right?
It is. You wouldn't believe that, the kind of the progression you can make if you start with one school, University of Coaching, and you can really work your way up if you're work hard and spoken highly of.
Yeah, and it's really neat to see in the tennis world just a lot of people with the love of the game to really just be able to fund and be able to take that passion and to make careers out of it. And of course, I got to end on a fun note with you, Justin. Is in your words, in 3 words, how would you describe tennis in the Mid-Atlantic?
Tennis in the Mid-Atlantic, I'm going to say underrated, competitive, and memorable.
Awesome. Well, and you're hitting it right on the head. I would say, a lot of people don't realize how good the tennis is in the Mid-Atlantic, and I'm sure for a lot of people that are watching this video are a big contribution to that ecosystem for it. So we appreciate what everybody's doing to help grow the sport and grow not just the college side, but all the junior spaces and all the different ways. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. So that being said, thank you, Justin. Thank you, everyone, for your time watching today. Look forward to sharing another spotlight session again soon. Make sure that you guys check out the Coach Resource Library or check out the USTA Mid-Atlantic YouTube channel. Appreciate the time, Justin. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Kyle. Take care, everyone.